Top 20 overpowered main character animes of all time. Nothing hypes you up more than seeing an overpowered main character do overpowered things. Well then, in that regard, I've brought you the list of the top 20 overpowered main character animes of all time. Pretty sure even you haven't seen all of them. Though if by some off chance you have, let me know because I'll have to start calling you Senpai from here on out. Well then, shall we begin? At number 20, we have The Melancholy of Haruhi Suzumiya. Though she may seem like another eccentric high schooler at first, this girl is quite literally capable of altering, creating, or destroying reality itself. This is triggered by her emotions or inner desires. She is so overpowered that after an instance that happened 3 years ago, she literally caught the attention of all extraterrestrial integrated data entities, time travelers from a distant future, as well as a group of espers. That's who Haruhi Suzumiya is. If you were to ask anyone about whether aliens, time travelers, or espers really exist, you'd be hard-pressed to find someone who says yes. But what if you are acquainted with this girl? Guys, I know that revealing all of this might have taken the fun out of this anime, but you still have a pretty good time watching it. Trust me. Number 19. Trigun. Vash the Stampede is someone whose head is worth $60 billion. That's like 10 zeros after the number 6. He is notorious for being a cruel tyrant who wrecks everything or everyone who comes in his way. His name has gradually become a symbol of fear and terror for the ordinary. Little does anyone know his true nature. The man is a big old softy who loves donuts. Though he is strong, yes, overpowered in fact, the man is smarter, stronger, and more skilled than anyone else on the entire planet. Plus, he is actually a plant. That's why his body doesn't age, even though he is actually 131 years old. Sounds interesting? Well, it is. Definitely watch this one. Number 18. Problem children are coming from another world, aren't they? There are 3 teenagers, all of them possess ridiculously overpowered psychic powers. They can turn the world into a wasteland on a whim, but since they are teenagers, they have to continue on with their daily, mundane lives. That is until one day they get the life-changing opportunity to go to a fantasy world. Now, even though all 3 of them are absurdly overpowered, the one who ranks here on this list is this boy, Izayui Sakamaki. He is simply a young man looking for a good fight. Isn't that the Goku or Saitama syndrome? Number 17. Mushoku Tensei, Jobless Reincarnation. Now, granted a chance to relive his entire life from ground zero, Ridius is someone who is used to be a gross 34-year-old nasty shut-in Coomer who stayed a loser all his life. He died while trying to save someone and got a chance to relive in a medieval fantasy. He lives and learns, and after a few years discovers his talent for magic. He seemed like a deemed mutant prodigy. Of course, he still has to work his way up the magic ladder, but if you are a light novel reader, you already know how he is like the Batman of Mushoku Tensei, considering how many tricks he has up his sleeve. Meaning, if he has done enough preparation, you are done for. Number 16, Katana Gatari. It's the age of swordsmen. You'll find all kinds of them practicing all sorts of different styles. Some excel more than others, but the protagonist named Shichika Yasuri is a cut above the rest. He is someone who practices Kyotoru-yu. It's a style where your own body acts as the blade. For the longest time, he has been living quietly with his sister, but after taking up the request of a young girl who wants to collect all 12 deviant blades, he sets off. Soon enough, the world shall know what this man is capable of. Number 15, Charlotte. Yu Otosaka is a handsome young man with a rather snarky ability. For the duration of 5 seconds, he can enter someone else's body and take over their consciousness. He has used this ability to cheat in exams, look up girls' skirts, and whatever else you can do in 5 seconds. Unfortunately, sooner rather than later, he comes to realize the true extent of his ability. It's plundering. There are others too who also have supernatural abilities. He can take away their abilities and continue to increase his arsenal of abilities. At one point, he becomes capable of anything imaginable. But what about his mental health? Number 14, Elfin Lied. Have you ever seen a character going on a rampage that can't even be explained with words? Well, that is sort of what happens one day when a lab rat named Lucy gets a chance to escape from the lab facility where she was continuously getting tortured and experimented on because of her supernatural abilities. She uses the opportunity to leave, but on the way, absolutely annihilates anyone or everyone who comes in the way. She does it in the most apathetic and efficient way possible. She has strong, undeniable hatred for the human race. She may very well kill them all. Though as she was escaping, she ended up getting a head injury, which left her with a split personality. Now, what will happen next? 我々が待ち望んだ純粋。お前など、私には必要ない。起立！ Number 13, Assassination Classroom. A supernatural entity that can travel through space at the unimaginable speed of Mach 20. It's unthinkable for a human to move at such a speed. One day, this man just takes up the role of teaching, tells his class that he was the one who destroyed a quarter of the moon, and tells them that if they can't kill him within a year, you bet he'll do the same thing to Earth. In fact, he'll simply blow all of it up. From here on out, the man uses his teaching and wisdom to help the students excel. The students definitely needed it, considering how they were part of a separate class outside of the school, established exclusively for troublemakers. Atomic Split Slash! Number 12. Cautious Hero. The hero is overpowered but overly cautious. Seiya Ryugyuin is a man who gets summoned by a rather klutzy goddess. She wants him to save the world from the Demon Lord, and he can easily do that considering how the difficulty level of the world isn't that high. But Seiya repeatedly continues to over-prepare for a fight. If the challenge is to do one push, he'll do 100 and then also run a 10-mile lap. Of course, that's just an example, but you get the idea. Here's a man who can never be too cautious, unless he is absolutely certain, 100% sure that he has prepared enough, he won't head over to the fight. This trait of his saves more lives than one can count, considering how the world turns out to be an S-tier difficulty once they are in. Number 11. The Devil is a Part-timer. Ever seen the Devil King work at McDonald's? Well, you'll see one in this anime. What happens is that the Devil King was about to conquer the land of Ente Isla. Hero Emilia is almost about to face off against him, but since he didn't really want to face off against her, he decides to make a temporary retreat. The man simply opens up a portal and goes through together with his generals. They end up in modern-day Japan, having lost their abilities at least for the time being, and the devil ends up having to work for McDonald's. Guys, the second season is right around the corner after like 9 years or something. If you haven't watched it, now's the time.
ありえない。俺は必ずエンテイスラを征服しに戻る。
Alright guys, time for a quick question. As you all know, these videos about overpowered main characters always end up getting overtaken by male characters. Wouldn't you want a video about the top 10 overpowered female protagonists? Well then, share your picks in the comment section and help me out with a future video. I am looking forward to seeing them. Also, like and subscribe, it's always appreciated. Well then, let's get back to the list. Number 10. Kenpu Denki Berserk. Guts is the personification of badassery. None can rival him in this regard. During the early days of Berserk's storyline, the man stood up against 100 men, slayed them all, and became dubbed as the 100-Man Slayer. Since then, he has continued to accomplish far greater feats. Despite the struggle, the emotional, physical, and mental suffering, he stands up against destiny itself and never stops pushing forth. It's inspiring yet sad enough to make even a grown-ass man shed tears. No, Berserk is where all grown-ass men shed tears. Number 9. Helsing Ultimate. If you are a vampire, Alucard is your worst nightmare. He is practically undefeatable. Once he gets going, he'll leave behind such a heinous sight that it can't even be properly censored. The man is hardcore about what he does. He is part of the Helsing organization whose goal is to stand up against vampires. Of course, once they use their trump card, Alucard, the organization always has a guaranteed win. When he gets a mission, he destroys whoever's in question. Seriously, a one-man army indeed. Number 8. How not to summon a Demon Lord. There is a young man who stands above everyone else when it comes to the popular MMORPG called Cross Rivery. It is seemingly impossible to defeat this man. It isn't just about his skill, he also possesses a herd of obscure artifacts. Anyone can tell that this man has wasted years of his life playing this game. Obviously, in contrast to his life within this game, he is just a shut-in NEET who stays cooped up in his room all day. Though suddenly something happens and he is summoned to another world. Wait, it's the world of the game. Plus, he is inside his avatar and has fantastical girls all around him. Man is about to live the Japanese dream. Number 7. That time I got reincarnated as a slime. Imagine being a slime. Not all that impressive, right? Now imagine being a slime that has the ability to devour anything and can also mimic all sorts of abilities. Furthermore, using the appearance mimicking ability, you can also take the appearance of a human. Talk about overpowered. That's what our 37-year-old corporate worker gets after protecting his college girlfriends from obvious death. He dies after getting stabbed through and turns up in another world. His wishes get heard and he ends up getting into the perfect kind of disposition. He can thrive anywhere. Number 6. The Irregular at Magic High School. In the distant future where magic is now treated in the same manner as science, there are also plenty of schools that teach it as technical skills. Tatsuya is a young man, or rather Tatsuya is a mutant prodigy whose technical skills go way beyond the understanding of an ordinary student. There is a genius engineer named Taurus Silver who has single-handedly advanced CAD's software technology by over 10 years within a single year. And guess what? It's Tatsuya. He is absurdly talented, his existence itself is equivalent to a national treasure, though nobody takes him seriously at school. They don't know what he is capable of yet. Number 5. Mob Psycho 100. The old saying, appearances are often deceiving, is especially true in this anime. A young high schooler named Shigeo Kageyama just so happens to have unparalleled psychic power. Though he wants none of that, he'd rather just have a normal life, work on his physique, and confessing to his longtime crush. Unfortunately, when a psychic criminal organization starts stirring up some trouble, he has to go up against psychics even though they have been taught by his teacher Reagan not to hurt anyone. He'll have no choice but to fight, and you bet it's going to be very difficult for his opponents considering how his emotions correlate with his psychic powers. The angrier he is, the greater you have to suffer. Number 4. The Misfits of the Demon King Academy. After 2,000 years, a baby is born. Within a month, he grows into a full-on teenager and enrolls in the Demon King Academy, where they train young talented demons so they can become the vassal that can withhold the Demon King itself. They are all waiting for him to be reborn in one of these vessels. As it turns out, this young man is the Devil King they've been waiting for, though when he takes the exam, he fails and is labeled as a misfit at the very academy that is for the rebirth of the Demon King. Irony at its best, ain't it?
見事だ。褒美をくれてやろう。同価値の何かをアポートしなくてはならない。
まずい潰れるサイコキネシス無事か
Number 3. The Disastrous Life of Seiki K.
大丈夫だだがお前は大丈夫では済まさんぞ
Seiki Kusuo is yet another psychic, though this one goes beyond overpowered. He can practically do anything he wants with his power. Telekinesis, psychokinesis, time travel, mind control, instant transmission. He can do basically everything an ability can. Though his powers are kind of unstable. If he isn't careful, he might just end Earth itself. That's why he has head pins to nerf himself so that he is no longer a threat to global security. I talk about this anime a lot on this channel, so trust me as I say this. If you haven't watched Seiki K, you are missing out on a whole new realm of anime comedy.
笑顔っすか無事じゃなかったおそれ何顔っすかあれ佐伯さん
Number 2. Overlord. A man named Momonga was reminiscing about the game he always played and the memories he made while playing it. It's the last few months of the game before its servers finally shut down. He wants to savor this moment, though even after the servers shut down, he doesn't go back. In fact, he can no longer go back. He is stuck. Plus all the NPCs are now alive and conscious, though that isn't a problem considering how he and his friends were at the literal top of this game. There's no one who possesses a threat to him, he might as well just dominate the entire world. The man decides to play the roles of the protagonist and the antagonist all by himself. When it comes to magic, he is quite literally the Overlord. We have the 4th season coming up soon, so let's go! Number 1. One Punch Man. Who couldn't have seen this coming? As the man who can defeat extraterrestrial threats with a single punch, Saitama is invincible in every sense of the word. It all started when he finally got tired of everything and decided to give it his all to become a hero. 100 push-ups, 100 sit-ups, 100 squats, plus a 10 km run every single day. No heat in winter, no cooling in summer, proteins, bananas, plus he continued to fight monsters exponentially stronger than him. At day 300, he felt it. Something inside of him was different. After 1.5 years, he had lost his hair. And then after 3 whole years, the man no longer had a limiter. He was now above the mental and physical limitations of his body. As Saitama himself puts it, he had become too strong. Now, he feels more excited gaming with King than facing dragon-level threats. That's all folks. Now, what did you think about these anime protagonists? Have you watched their respective animes, or are you planning on watching them? Share your thoughts in the comments section down below. Press that like button if you enjoyed the video, subscribe and leave a comment saying I subscribed and I'll personally reply to your comment. Also, don't forget to share some overpowered female protagonists. It'll help me out with a future video. Well then, I'll see you guys on my next video.